But what's frustrating even more than that is that in a nation of good conscience, that we would be debating, having a conversation about a child who is born sitting there, alive, separated from her mother, and that there would be a question of whether or not that child should be able to continue to live. This is an issue that has been raised by comments coming out of New York and more recently comments coming out of Virginia when the governor, who happens to be, from my understanding, a pediatric surgeon, suggested that it is okay to allow that child to die. I cannot imagine, whether you are pro-life as I am or pro-choice like others, that this would be even an issue of debate or discussion within the two sides. There is no side on this topic. There cannot be a side about life separated from the mother, whether or not that life should continue to live. This is common sense. This is human decency. This is not an issue of being pro-life or pro-choice. This is being pro-child, which we all should be. And so I find myself at a loss of words, standing on the floor of the United States Senate, where a vote yesterday failed by several votes, having to discuss what doesn't make sense anywhere that I have traveled. And I will tell you, Mr. President, I have recently spoke in Charleston, South Carolina, to a group during Black History where the GOP and African Americans were in the same room having a great conversation about the issues that are important to our nation. We talked about so many of the powerful issues of economic opportunity and opportunity zones. And there may have been some disagreement on whether we should have higher taxes or lower taxes. But there was no disagreement on the issue of infanticide. There was no disagreement whatsoever. So whether you were left in the room or to the right, there was one thing that was in common, was the value of life. When I started talking about the truth of human life, the value and the intrinsic value of each human being, there was 100% support that we are a nation that should always value the life of a born child. There was not a single dissent in a room of nearly 400 people.